Hello! Hey, Facebook. Welcome to the Gun Show. It's our season premiere. And if you're new to the Gun Show or Gulf Coast Gun, we've had a lot of new followers here lately. I think it's because I was screaming on a Facebook post about a week ago. Everybody either made fun of me or thought it was awesome. There was no in between, I don't think. So if you're new to us, I'm Ranting Chris. This is Pistol Pete. Will probably be our next Santa Rosa County Commissioner for District 1. Go Pistol Pete. Yeah. We got our web guy, JD, who you never know if he's going to have a beard or if he's going to go bare bones there. So today he's going he's going bearded. Getting kind of gray, JD.
Only takes a day to get it. So
you grew that in a day?
Absolutely.
All right. And we have a special guest tonight, and we'd like to thank him for coming on. Mike Bates, the creator of the Mike Bates Show. He has a local radio show and podcast. You guys should go check it out. Hey, Mike, how are you doing?
Doing great, Chris. Appreciate you inviting me on tonight.
Absolutely. We love having experts on things come on, and tonight we're going to talk a little bit about coronavirus. Of course, everybody's talking about coronavirus, but we're going to talk about it in a little bit different aspect than the media's been talking about it. We're going to talk about its effect on the gun world. We're going to talk about a couple of gun bills that they're trying to sneak through right now, and we're going to give away some prizes. Have a lot of fun. You guys watching, if Pistol Pete's butt showed up on the live stream.
Oh, you like that?
That's how we introduced him to everyone tonight. So if you guys want to comment, make comments, you want to make fun of us, that's always a lot of fun as well. So just to get started, Mike, tell the guys a little bit about your show that you do, your radio show and your podcast.
Yeah, all right. So I've been in the radio business for 40 years, and I do a show. I've done a lot of shows up in Virginia, Tennessee, Florida, and for a while there, I was working with the White House official press corps. I actually accompanied President Barack Obama on his trip to Cuba in 2016. So I've been on the White House press corps quite a few times, produced many documentaries with the Blue Angels. I flew with the F-18 and Fat Albert both. Went to Vietnam, did a 10-hour radio documentary on the Vietnam War. So I've done a lot of things in radio. But the thing I'm doing now is a podcast, which is an archive of the radio program that runs Saturday mornings from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. on WPNN in Pensacola. That's 103.7 FM and 790 AM. And then when that show's over, it goes up on a podcast at www.themikebatesshow.com. And there is also a blog there, and I keep the blog running whenever something is worthwhile. So obviously the podcast goes up every Saturday morning after the show airs on the radio. The podcast goes up whenever there's something interesting to talk about, which can sometimes be multiple times a day, or it can be a week between posts. It just depends.
I've listened to a few of them, and lately you've got some heat. You did a couple of Facebook posts. I think you got some heat from with you and Representative Mike Hill, and so you also got some Facebook heat for posting some of the pork that's in this new stimulus package that the government's trying to pass through as fast as possible. They claim to help everyone, but they've thrown in a lot of add-ons to this thing to get through to. I mean, from what I read that you posted, I haven't actually read the stimulus package like you did, but from what I read, I mean, this thing is full of billions of dollars worth of add-ons.
Oh yeah, it is absolutely ridiculous. Now, there's a couple of bills that we can talk about. I'll talk first about the House bill, even though at this point, it doesn't look like the House bill is going to become law because the Senate passed a bill. But I do want to mention this. It was Barack Obama's chief of staff, Rahm Emanuel, who said, and I quote here, "You never want a serious crisis to go to waste." And what I mean by that, it's an opportunity to do things you think you could not do before. And politicians are exploiting this coronavirus crisis to do things they didn't think they could do before. Republicans are guilty as well. I am not a partisan individual at all. I'm a constitutionalist. I frankly don't like either party. Now, I do think the Democrats are far worse than the Republicans, But that's not complimenting the Republicans. That's just saying how terrible the Democrats typically are.
I think me and you are on the same page there.
But I do want to mention a few things of what they did. So here we have this $2 trillion bill that is supposedly the coronavirus relief bill, where Congress is going to be funding to the tune of $2 trillion worth of borrowed money in order to get us out of this coronavirus crisis. Wouldn't you think they would limit things to the coronavirus crisis if that was the case? Oh no, not House Democrats. Let me tell you how shameless they are. And by the way, if you want to read along with this, I posted this Tuesday morning. I spent 5 hours Tuesday morning reading 1,404 pages of this bill. And I not only cite the examples I'm going to share with you, but on the blog, I give the page numbers and a link to it so you can verify it. I don't want you to believe me. I am telling you the truth, but I want you to verify it yourself. And so I make it very easy to be able to do that. So here's a couple of things. Here are the highlights. So we've got this thing where we're trying to save the economy from the coronavirus, right? These are the points that the Democrats put in their bill in the House. Mandatory vote by mail ballots during a declared emergency. Prohibiting voter ID requirements nationwide. Federal regulation of the placement of all polling locations in the country. Right now, local supervisors of elections pick that. They want to establish a commission in Washington that gets to decide where every one of those goes. They want to render illegal all state laws that require witness signatures on the envelopes of absentee ballots. They want to mandate nationwide early voting, and they want to render illegal all state laws that prohibit ballot harvesting, which is when you have activist groups going around the neighborhood collecting hundreds of absentee ballots and turning them in. The problem is sometimes they don't turn them in, right? If they go to a neighborhood where the statistics show that it's the opponent that's going to get the most votes, these ballot harvesters will go into that neighborhood, collect them, and then toss them in the dumpster. So people think they voted, but they didn't. Why would there be any election information like that in the coronavirus relief bill? Another part of that, though, Chris, the Democrats wanted to make the taxpayers pay student loans. Now, it wasn't a total forgiveness of all outstanding student loan debt, although they would like to do that, but they proposed in the coronavirus bill that student loan payments for the duration of the crisis would be paid by taxpayers, not the debtors. Now, I know that sounds absolutely insane, so don't believe me, but look it up. It's on page 613. If you go to my blog, themikebaitshow.com, and then click the blog button, you'll be able to click on the actual link to the bill, and it's on page 613. Climate change. Chris, what does climate change have to do with the coronavirus? Well, never miss an opportunity.
That's the reason the coronavirus started, Mike, was because of climate change. You didn't know that?
Well, climate change causes everything, doesn't it? Enough that the House Democrats put in language to the tune of $100 million for development of sustainable aviation fuels in the coronavirus relief bill. They funded $33 million for the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, $3 million for forest and rangeland research, and various carbon emission restrictions for airlines. Those, by the way, those carbon emissions are so numerous that they comprise pages 968 through 982. By the way, I should give you those numbers too on the other ones, page 797, page 15, and page 70. Again, you don't have to write this down. Just go to themikebaitshow.com, click on blog. I list them there. The TSA, you know, these people at the airport.
That was the quickest pitch for quickest advertisement I've ever heard anyone throw in, by the way.
Well, I think people should go there, frankly. I put a lot of information. Plus, I don't want to think that I spent that 5 hours for nothing. I want people to read this stuff. So, Chris, get this. The Transportation Security Administration, TSA at the airport, the coronavirus bill, the Democrats put in $26 million to pay them overtime. Who's traveling? They don't need overtime. They should be sending half these people home. That's on page 54. Also on page 54, there's $20 million for the TSA to buy more explosive trace detection swabs. Now, I completely understand why the TSA needs explosive trace detection swabs. But if fewer people are traveling, don't you think they would need fewer
less
swabs, not more swabs? So what are they spending that $20 million on? Never miss an opportunity to throw in more pork. But it's actually worse than that. The House Democrats also put in their bill $300 million for the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. That's NPR and PBS. That's on page 126. A $35 million grant to the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C. for the performing arts. That's on page 76. $300 million for the National Endowment of the Arts. $300 million for the National Endowment of the Humanities. Both of those are on page 77. This will get you, Chris. $300 million in foreign aid via the International Disaster Assistance. That's on page 148. And that does not include the $3 billion in foreign aid via the International Development Association, or the $7.2 billion for the African Development Bank, or the $90 million for the Peace Corps. The Peace Corps brought everybody home. The Peace Corps is shut down. Why do we need another $90 million for them? We don't. Well, the Democrats put it in the bill.
I can answer your question for the swabs for the bombs. One of the congressman's brother-in-laws actually owns the company that makes the swabs for the bombs. I'm just kidding. I
know you say that in jest, but you might be serious. That might actually be it. You never know.
Absolutely.
You never know these kinds of things. There was also $1.4 billion in the coronavirus relief bill for low-income home energy assistance programs. That's on page 95. $6 billion for childcare. Childcare? Who's working? Take care of your own kids. $250 million for Native American housing block grants. That's on page 183. There's $130 million for housing opportunities for persons with AIDS. That is on page 186. I promise you I did not make that up. $5 billion, Chris, for homeless assistance grants. Page 194. $55 million for Fair Housing Initiatives program, page 630. But get this too, and I'll wrap this up, I promise. I don't want to dominate the show with this, but you know what else the Democrats put in their bill? I promise you, Chris, I'm not making it up. Look it up. It's on page 741. A $15 an hour minimum wage. Seriously.
I saw that. I actually saw that.
Paid leave of at least 14 days for full-time employees, part-time employees, and contractors. And I'm not really sure how you get a contractor paid leave, but whatever. They also have in there a ban on lobbying. That is a blatant violation of the First Amendment right to petition the government for a redress of grievances. You can't prohibit somebody from lobbying. But if you take coronavirus money, you can.
They're tired of people actually coming to their doorsteps and telling them how they feel about these crazy bills that they're generating up there.
Yeah, exactly. It's absolutely ridiculous, all the pork that they threw in there and all of the unrelated programs and policies that they put in there too.
Now, so we actually could have got this down to, we actually could have got this stimulus package down to $1 trillion if it was just going to the coronavirus.
Well, I'm not sure there's a full trillion. I don't think there's a full trillion, but here's the thing. The House bill has no chance, all right? The Senate last night passed the Senate bill, which is $2.2 trillion. The House is probably going to vote on that and approve it as it is. So the House bill is not going to become law. But I mention that because I wanted to point out what the Democrats wanted to do if they could. But you know what? Just because the Senate is in Republican majorities doesn't mean that the Senate bill is clean. It's almost as bad. Now, those policies aren't in there in terms of the minimum wage and the ban on lobbying and the carbon emissions and crap like that. But there's plenty of pork, and a lot of the pork that I mentioned is also in the Senate bill that got passed by the Senate and will probably be passed by the House. They cut it, but not by much. We're still talking hundreds of millions, actually cumulatively, it's well over billions of dollars in absolute, complete, unrelated pork. It's disgraceful.
I saw a meme earlier today that said the government just charged your credit card $13,000 and gave you $1,200 back.
Hey, that's an accurate way to put it. That is an accurate way to put it.
It seems to be. Absolutely seems to be.
Yeah.
So, Mike, you posted all this on your Facebook page. I did a live video, I think 2 days ago, about this. Facebook immediately took my post down. They immediately took my live video down after I posted it. I did another live video. They immediately took it down as well and took down all of my live videos. Something similar to your Facebook page or people that had shared your post about the stimulus bill, correct?
That's correct. Now, not everybody who shared it had it taken down, but some people who shared my post had it deleted. And the reason we know it got deleted is because when I got something shared, I get a notification, hey, so-and-so shared your post. So I'd click on it to go to their page, and it would instead have a notice that says, this content is not here right now. It's been deleted. And so I would email or call the person, say, hey, did you share that? And they said, yeah. Well, is it up there? No, I don't know where it went. Facebook took it down. I got my posts, not from my own page, but I posted some things on other pages. Facebook took it down on the grounds that I was spreading lies and misinformation, which is infuriating because I included the page numbers. I mean, how much more spoon-fed truth do you want? Here's the truth. Here's the link to the page and the page number it's on. For crying out loud, can I be any more truthful? It's just insane.
You know, I think the problem is you're not wearing a mask. I mean, I think you would be less worried if maybe you're wearing a mask, Mike. I'm just saying.
So if he could get an N95 mask, then they would probably listen to him a little more on Facebook.
Well, since you brought that up, on Friday of last week, I, along with 5 other guys, went to lunch. Oh, the horror, right? We dined out during the coronavirus closure. Although restaurants were still open in the state of Florida, it's perfectly legal to do it.
And they needed your business.
And they desperately needed our business. We were there for 2 hours. It was us plus 3 other tables. And the waitress said it had been that slow all week. So she was pretty thrilled to have us there. We had a nice meal. We tipped well and all that. Well, I put on for about 20 seconds. I brought a Zorro mask with me, or a Lone Ranger mask, whichever you prefer. It's the same mask. And I asked the guys at the table, hey, can we get a quick picture here? And they agreed. And I put the mask on. I wish I could show you. I wish I had the mask right here. I'd put it on and show you. But it's basically, you know what a Lone Ranger mask looks like. And I took the selfie of us at the table. And I posted, hey, you know, we're having lunch. And I'm not worried about catching the coronavirus because I'm wearing a mask. Well, Mike Hill, Representative Mike Hill, who is in the Florida House, was among the 6 of us that were dining. And some left-wing so-called journalist, who's really an activist in Central Florida.
Mike, sorry. Hey, one of you have your who's streaming from Facebook right now, because we can hear it.
I'm not.
Chris, or y'all got it playing or something?
No,
I got everything muted.
I'm not. I don't have anything on Facebook now. I think
I'm not hearing any
maybe
echo.
It was our live. It may have been our live audience over here.
Yeah, I'm not hearing any echo here.
Yeah, we're off of it now. Are we still live, JD, or are you just recording?
Yeah. No, we're good. We're good.
Okay. So we're
right,
still live.
Wrapping up the story, Chris, because I do not want to dominate this program. So wrapping up the story, some left-wing activist.
I think you're doing better than we normally do. So go ahead.
Well, some left-wing activist who is part of a statewide so-called newspaper got a hold of that and tweeted it out as an attack on Mike Hill. And of course, he completely lied about what I said, because he claimed that we called the coronavirus a hoax. And I did not call the coronavirus a hoax. I called the corona panic media-driven. So I sent him a message correcting his inaccuracy and asked him for a correction. I said, look, what I said is still there. Here's a link to it. Go look, and then please make a correction. Although I won't hold my breath. Well, it's a good thing I didn't, because he didn't do the correction. Still hasn't done the correction.
Well, Mike, let me tell you something. JD actually brought up a good point about masks. Governor Northam from Virginia,
right?
He has actually been practicing for the coronavirus since his college years. In the 80s, his mask was white. So I didn't see any of those. I didn't relatively pointy. I didn't see any of the left-wing media calling him out about his mask. They let him slide on his mask.
Well,
this guy's been ready for coronavirus for 30 years now.
Right. Well, whenever you see a politician with a D in parentheses after his name, the D stands for one of two things, depending on the situation. It either stands for do not prosecute or do not attack.
Or dumbass.
Well, it can apply for that too. But seriously, there's such a double standard in the media. It's disgusting.
It is. It's absolutely disgusting. We've went over it and over it and over it. And I think that people that are right leaning really have seen the double standard in the media. The people on the left side, I don't think they've noticed it at all. I think they would actually just call out one news source and say it has a double standard and go from there. But you're right. The double standard in the media it's going to be there. It's going to be there as long as people like Bloomberg control the media. So I mean, there's really nothing we can do about it except for make posts like this, trying to help people out a little bit, let people understand what's actually going on in the world. I mean, we've had, so let's kind of move on from the stimulus package a little bit. There's a lot of other things going on right now. One of the things we posted our show, that we're having our show tonight, and I had one of our followers comment about HR House Bill 5717, which is a gun control bill. And I think it was brought to committee by Democratic Representative Hank Johnson from Georgia. Mike, you remember Hank Johnson. I think you brought this to my attention earlier before we started the show, who Hank Johnson was.
Yeah, Hank Johnson is the idiotic Democrat congressman from DeKalb County, right outside of Atlanta, who during a committee hearing had some Navy admiral in the hearing. And the hearing had to do with placing, I forget, it was either Navy personnel or Marine Corps personnel on the island of Guam and increasing our military presence there. And Representative Hank Johnson asked the admiral, he said, "Admiral, are you concerned that if we bring in more military personnel that the island will flip over?" And the admiral, I don't know how he kept a straight face, but
he did keep a straight face. It was impressive. Credit,
his response, he looked at the congressman, deadpan, and said, "Sir, we don't anticipate that." And Congressman Johnson tried to play that off after he was called out on it as, "Oh, I was only joking. I was only joking." He was not joking.
He was not joking.
Yeah, no, he was not joking. He was not joking. He honestly thought islands floated and could flip over. And these are people that we elect to Congress.
So
give it enough time, though, right? Enough time, it may flip over.
We don't have any proof that it won't flip over, right, JD?
That's what I'm saying. I don't want to defend him, but what if you put all the dinosaurs that are on Guam, on the island of Guam? What if you put them all over there? It could flip over. I'm just saying.
Actually, I think they used Guam for Jurassic Park, correct? It didn't flip over then, right?
Did they?
I think that was New Zealand, but whatever.
I have no clue what island they used for Jurassic Park. But, so in Hank Johnson's defense, I think he was trying to pass this gun control bill for the safety of the United States, and not the safety from firearms, but the safety from the United States, the eastern side of the United States, the southeast side, from actually tipping over and flipping Canada right over us. Because if we put too much metal down here, then, it'll offset the balance and the whole country will just flip, right?
Hey, that's the way Hank Johnson thinks. You might be onto something.
Pete, have you you checked out the bill a little bit? Can you tell us a little bit of a few of the ridiculous things that are in this bill?
What they're wanting to do is have everyone licensed to own and to carry, not necessarily carry, but have even in your house a license, a federal license, so that they'll know where it is. They've got a more extensive background check they're going to run on you. They also are going to put a 30% tax on firearms, and they're going to put 50% tax on ammunition.
Another tax.
Yeah, so they're looking to raise money with this, at the same time controlling the general population. The person that put this on the internet said it would make 360 million Americans, law-abiding citizens in America, immediately felons if this passed. And it's in the House right now. They've submitted it to committee, but it hasn't gone anywhere. I don't think it hasn't got any traction. Hopefully, it won't get any traction. But you need to pay attention to what they're doing, especially with this coronavirus going on, the pandemic that we've got. They're trying to sneak things under the radar while we're watching something else.
Well, absolutely. I mean, it's just another tax and another tax and another tax. And even my 2-year-old, hold on, let me see if I can hit this real fast. Even my 2-year-old knows what a gun tax is. And let me just prove it to you. She goes, let's see if she, I don't have it. Man, I thought that would work. That'd be great. My 2-year-old runs around our house going, taxation is theft. Taxation is theft. My mom or my wife hates that I taught her that, but she literally every night when I get home runs around the house screaming taxation is theft. It's really cute and makes me proud every time too.
Well, the thing is, there are some taxes that are legitimate and constitutional. I'm not one of these guys who thinks the government can function with zero money. So I have no problem with legitimate taxes that are low and broad based. I'm fine with that. What I do have a problem with are excise taxes that are done specifically to harm an industry. I don't smoke, but I'm against very high tobacco taxes. I don't drink nearly enough, and that has to do with both quantity and frequency, by the way. I do drink some, just not enough. But I'm opposed to high alcohol taxes for the same reason. And I'm opposed for firearm taxes because you shouldn't use tax policy to control behavior. You should have a uniform rate that is universally applied as low as it can possibly be. And you use it for one purpose and one purpose only, and that's to generate revenue to pay for the legitimate functions of government. Unfortunately, we haven't used tax policy for that since at least 1913.
That's correct. I mean, there's in the state of Florida alone, there's taxes on your Second Amendment rights. Like I was ranting about people having to wait on firearms. They were having to wait for a 3-day background check. I got a lot of flack from it on my rant. Well, I didn't have to wait. Well, you didn't have to wait because you bought a concealed weapons permit. And while we can argue whether people should have to get a concealed weapons permit to carry or not, I don't believe so. I don't think there's another right that you should have to pay a tax for. But let's use this example. The concealed weapons permit is absolutely a tax because in Florida you have to if you have a concealed weapons permit, you can bypass the cooling off period, which I'm all for bypassing anything that makes it harder to get a firearm. But if the cooling off period is legitimate, if you need to cool off, then why does a concealed weapons permit actually bypass that cooling off period? They say, well, you've already done a background check. That's why you can bypass that cooling off period because we've already put you through a background check.
But they do a background check.
But we still have to do another background check to buy firearms. So how does that make any sense whatsoever?
$5 gun tax.
And yeah, the background checks, the reason they make you do the background checks is because they have a $5 gun tax. They're generating, last year, Florida did 1 million background checks, which generated $5 million for the state of Florida. I was told that the people at the background check center have about 30 employees. I was also told that they're not very highly paid employees. I was told this by the head of FDLE in a private phone conversation that he would probably tell people that he didn't have with me. But I was told this by him. And let's just do the math. So if you're paying these people $50,000 a year, which they're not, because he already told me that they're not very highly paid employees. If you're paying them $50,000 a year, that's $1.5 million right there. I know they have general overhead, but where's the other $3 million going? So it's obviously a revenue-based tax for the background checks. And also, Nikki Fried, the new Democratic head of the Department of Agriculture, who is against firearms in every way, wanted to change the length of your concealed weapons permit from 7 years down to 5 years because it wasn't generating enough revenue. That was her words. that it was not generating enough revenue, and she wanted to generate more revenue. So she's against firearms until it generates revenue for the state government.
Yeah, but remember, she also stated as a reason that it was gun safety. She wanted people to get a mental health evaluation and go through training to renew their license every time and to renew them more frequently. So, yeah, she's selling it on that whole typical gun grabbing BS of it being safety, even though it's got nothing to do with safety.
So, and here's another thing, the HR 5717 bill, they put in there that they can hold background checks indefinitely. So what this means, a lot of people don't understand what that means. So when you have a background check done, and this is nationwide, because the NICS system is done federally, the Florida system is done statewide, but NICS runs off of the Brady Act. So they do they do a background check, and if you don't immediately get a decision on the background check, they put you in a delayed status. If in that delayed status, your background check does not come back within 3 business days, the retailer has the option to transfer the firearm to you, so the person's Second Amendment right doesn't get held up. Now, the retailer doesn't have to transfer the firearm to you if they don't want to, if they don't feel comfortable. Most gun-loving retailers will say, well, they should have got the background check back faster. They're holding this person's Second Amendment right up, so I'm going to transfer the firearm to them. And 99% of the time, everything comes back fine. They just took forever to finish the background check. But so with this new bill, they can hold that background check indefinitely. And you'll have people say, well, they should be able to find out what's in a person's background before they transfer a firearm. Well, when you hold it indefinitely, what happens, and you guys know how government works, it is the slowest process ever whenever you put government in charge of anything. That's why they run in the red 95% of their programs, when a private business would run the same program in the black. But so they have the slowest process ever. They're going to take your form, they're going to take your information, and they're going to set it on a desk somewhere. And then no one is going to touch that form until one day they say, oh, maybe we should go through these delayed processes, because they have no incentive, no reason to come back with your background check in a speedy fashion. And we're seeing that here in Florida, because Florida just passed that 2 years ago with that. Do you remember the bill, Mike? The
7026.
It was the bill after the Parkland
shooting. The Marjorie Stoneman Douglas School Safety Protection Act or something like that. Senate Bill 7026.
Absolutely. So people don't realize that what they added in that bill is they can hold your background check indefinitely. And so most people aren't affected. Probably 90% of the people that buy a firearm aren't affected. But the other 10% are being affected very harshly, because when they get put on a delay, we haven't seen a delay come back in less than 2 weeks since they started this program. We've actually had people go on 6-month delays. And when you call FDLE to ask them about it, they say, well, legally, we can hold it as long as we want to. I mean, how is that an answer? Legally, we can hold it as long as we want to. So this is what Hank Johnson wants to do federally. And it's absolutely absurd, because we all know what happens when you don't put a time frame or any restrictions on anything like that. It's exactly what's happening in Florida. The form will get set on a desk somewhere, and no one will come back and look at it. And the problem is the people running the background checks aren't educated about what they're supposed to do either. I've had numerous conversations with FDLE staff, and they'll say, well, just rerun the background check. Well, legally, we can't rerun a background check unless they try to purchase another gun. That's a federal law. There has to be a gun transaction with every background check that we run. So we can't just run another background check. And the ATF has been getting into it with FDLE as well over these new laws, because they're just making it up as they go.
So, Chris, I have a legal question for you. Name for me, please, one constitutional right that requires permission from the government before you can exercise it.
The second.
All of them.
That's the only one, which means it doesn't really require it.
All of them. JD, you're going to be right. That's going to be the correct answer in about 10 years, maybe even 5 after this coronavirus thing's happening. Because now Yeah, go ahead.
I don't want to scare you, but I've been looking at Doug Broxton's Twitter, and he said you look fat. I just say you put on some weight. I don't know.
That means Doug's been watching our show if he knows that I put on some weight.
I was just trying to bring up Doug Broxton because you love him so much.
Okay, so anybody that watched the rant knows that I literally said Doug Broxton 25 times because Doug Broxton is our senator for District 1 in Florida, and he said he was not going to vote for that bill. And then last minute, he turned his back on the Second Amendment. He voted for the bill, and he was actually the deciding vote. If he would have voted no, this bill never would have made it to the governor to sign. And so Doug Broxton is not a friend to the Second Amendment, and I have challenged everyone to call him, talk to him, see what he was thinking. He actually did an interview with the Santa Rosa Press-Gazette, Mike, and defended voting yes for the bill.
Oh, yeah, he tried defending it to me as well. And what his excuse was, and I quote, well, we had to do something.
And that's always the excuse.
Yeah. I know, but I'm just telling you what his excuse was. It was a lousy excuse, but that's what he said. Well, we had to do something. If we didn't do something, the Democrats would win the next election, and then they'd impose it anyway. So we had to do something. My response to that was, Doug, you didn't have to do anything if it was unconstitutional. You swore an oath to preserve, protect, and defend the constitutions of the state of Florida and the United States, both of which guarantee the right of the people to keep and bear arms, and he violated that oath. He, along with 19 other senators, it passed 20-18. And had he voted no, instead of voted yes, it would have been a 1919 fail. It never would have gone to the House. It never would have gone to the governor. And then we wouldn't have had the unconstitutional law that we have right now in the state of Florida. Now, I'm hopeful that the courts will properly throw that out, but gosh, it's been 2 years. Where are things? Why are things going so slow? And the most egregious aspect, there's a lot of egregious aspects in Senate Bill 7026, which is now state law. But the most egregious of all, Chris, is the one that made it illegal for 18, 19, 20-year-olds to buy a rifle in the state of Florida. Name for me one constitutional right that can be denied to 18, 19, or 20-year-olds. There aren't any, except apparently the Second Amendment.
Cigarettes.
But it's that's not a constitutional right.
I know it's not a constitutional.
Well, no, I mean people will say that, and no, I get that answer all the time. They go, well, smoking, drinking. I'm like, well, neither one of those is an enumerated constitutional right. Okay?
Absolutely.
But it actually, Chris, is worse than that, because Senate Bill 7026 did make an exception. If you serve in the military, or if you are in law enforcement, you can buy a gun in the state of Florida if you're 18, 19, or 20 years old.
Absolutely.
Which means that it was the belief of the Florida legislature, and is now, unless and until the court overturns it, codified into Florida law, that constitutional rights are earned through military service or service with a law enforcement agency. Are you kidding me? I got my constitutional rights because by the grace of God, I was born in this country. Now, I didn't do a thing to deserve it, except luck of the draw. My parents were citizens. I was born on American soil. I'm a U.S. citizen. I did nothing to deserve that.
But if you're like me, you believe that every country deserves the same constitutional rights.
Well, that's a good point, in that the Second Amendment doesn't have to be enumerated because it doesn't grant people the right to keep and bear arms. That right is pre-existing. It is given by God. It doesn't say that the people shall be granted the right. It says the right of the people, the pre-existing right. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. The founders knew that that was already a right. Government didn't grant it. The Constitution simply said government couldn't infringe on it. And yet governments across this land infringe on it every day. And it's usually Democrats that do it. You know, I expect Democrats to trample the Constitution. They're enemies of the Republic. But when Republicans do it, oh, for crying out loud, you know, I thought we were safe with the Florida legislature in Republican hands. No, we weren't. And frankly, we had a Florida governor too.
JD, we
can't count on anybody.
JD, we talked
There's
about
this. There's not a dime bit of difference.
We talked about this the other night about the Democrats now thinking they could buy guns over the internet because they were told they could buy guns.
Oh, in our
over the
podcast?
Yes.
You talking about our
podcast.
Kobe has coronavirus?
Kobe has
podcast?
Coronavirus podcast. I mean, that podcast is only meant for people who aren't easily offended. Just FYI, because
well, it's interesting that you mentioned, Chris, about buying guns over the internet, because obviously with this coronavirus closure, we're finding out that you really can't, because there have been mayors that have shut down gun stores. The governor of Pennsylvania shut them down, and the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania upheld it, although he did come back and reopen it. So I'm not quite sure why he did that. Since the Supreme Court gave it,
I think he got a lot of flack about it.
That may have been it, but
I mean, I think that they should just go use the gun show loophole.
They should.
Well, except you can't assemble at a gun show.
You know.
Well, the problem is they're coming. So we've seen. I'm going to go ahead and say probably 60% of our gun sales in the last week and a half have come from newbies. And some of them are very left leaning. And the funny part is before, and they will tell you, I don't believe in guns, but I need something to defend my family. That is literally the argument I get when they come in here. I don't believe in guns.
I don't believe in food, but I'm hungry.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And then they're shocked by the fact that they have to wait 3 business days, that they can't pick up the gun for. What am I supposed to do between now and then? That is what I get. What am I supposed to do between now and then?
And yet they voted for the politicians that imposed those restrictions.
Yes, they did. And it's hilarious. It is absolutely hilarious. And what I saw a little bit ago, it's pretty funny. I was checking.
Well, you can't expect them to read the bill before they pass it, right? I mean, you're not.
No. You got to pass the bill to see what's in it, right?
See, you got to. That's what I understand.
Absolutely. But what I was looking at, I was trying to find out how much gun sales have increased nationwide, and gun sales have actually increased 77% nationwide, which is, I mean, that's a lot.
So is coronavirus a better gun salesman than Barack Obama was?
For now.
Yeah.
For right now, coronavirus is a better gun salesman than Barack Obama.
I'm pretty sure he won Gun Salesman of the Year. Well, I guess he did it for a lot of years in a row, right?
Yeah, he had 8 years to earn that dubious award.
He did.
Yeah.
A lot of years to earn that award. But so I got to playing when I was looking up gun sales increases, and actually in liberal states where they're mostly Democrats, you know, they have Democrats for governor, the representatives, mostly Democrats, liberal states, New York, California, the gun sales have increased even further than 77%. In Delaware, in fact, they have increased 4,500% since the coronavirus pandemic has started here in the United States.
Wow.
I just wish I had a shop in Delaware right now, is all I can say.
Well, the 2 things that I have to say to all these anti-gun people that are now purchasing firearms: 1, welcome to the club. And 2, when you're allowed outside, get some training.
Yes, they absolutely need training.
I'm glad you're armed and able to defend yourself, but you need training too, because what you've seen on TV and in the movies, that doesn't work. You need legitimate training and practice.
It's funny to say that because we've JD knows how to do it. Show all the newbies, JD, how to hold a gun. That's how they hold it.
You gotta do it like this.
Oh, is that how you do it? All right. Is that with the extendo clips on them?
Yeah, the clips. And this is how I drive my truck actually, with guns out the front, just in case.
No, but realistically, they do need a lot of training. I've seen it. We've had to show a lot of them just how to load a firearm, and I have 100% told them before they even think about trying to defend their family with one of these firearms that they need to go get some training with it. They need to, I mean, if they have a friend that's proficient in guns, take them out, let them shoot, show them how to do everything. We showed them as much as we possibly could in the time that we had. The problem was, as we had, I mean, we would have 20 people at a time yelling in each one of our guys' ears that they need help here, help here. And it lasted for, it's still going on. We're close to, we've been low on inventory for the past few days, but it's still going on right now. And, you know, we can't give them proficient training just walking in the store and holding a gun. We can show them how to handle everything, but they're going to have to get the training on their own. And I'm afraid they're not going to. They're, you know, after this is over, they're probably just going to sell those guns back and they don't need protection anymore. That's what I'm guessing.
I tell people all the time, in the absence of training, just shoot rounds into the floor. Right? Most people break into your house, start hearing fire, you know, gunshots, you know, they're going to bounce.
Yeah.
Right.
Or, hey, wait, I thought that you just get a double barrel shotgun and you walk out on your balcony.
You mean I think it's a fully semi-automatic double barrel shotgun.
My bad. And then you just shoot into the bushes when you hear an intruder outside, correct?
Yeah, that's
that's
Joe
what Biden. Is that Biden, right? Yeah, that's
the
Joe
Biden method.
Yeah. Is that before or after, like, little kids have been rubbing his leg hairs?
That was
probably.
And
after.
the thing is, Chris, about Joe Biden having said that, he's such a liar. The timing of when Joe Biden said that, and if you listen to the entire video of him saying it, and I'm not quoting him here, okay?
Mike, let me be clear here. So he's a liar about the shotgun, or he's a liar about little kids rubbing his leg hairs?
He's a liar about almost everything he says, but specifically about the shotgun.
Except the leg hair thing.
He was active as the vice president of the United States when he said it. And what he said was, I told Jill just the other night, if you hear an intruder, grab a automatic double-barreled shotgun, step out on the balcony and fire 2 blasts and it will scare him away. What the hell is he talking about? He's protected by the Secret Service. He wasn't telling Jill a couple of nights ago to grab a shotgun. He is such a liar.
Problem with that, you know, the problem with that is that there's a real good chance that, well, he could have killed one of his coke addict sons.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely.
On some coke fueled raids coming through the bushes, trying to get into the house or whatever. Boom, there, Jill's done shot him.
He had 2 shots. He could have killed him and his stripper girlfriend. Either one.
She's from Arkansas. Wait a minute.
She's from Arkansas.
Well, yeah.
So we can't talk about her. She's from Arkansas.
Do you think she sounds like Pete? I bet she does. she sounds just like.
Does she talk as slow as Pete?
Oh,
so
yeah.
I have a question to clarify something that you just said, that one of his cokehead sons, plural. Now, Hunter Biden was kicked out of the Navy Reserve because he was a cocaine addict.
Yeah.
But you said sons, plural. Was his other son also a coke addict? I only thought it was Hunter.
Oh, you know, I don't know. I don't think it. I never really hung out with him that much. They only bought coke from me a few times. I kid.
Well, let's make it singular then, in the interest of accuracy, because Hunter definitely was a cokehead. I can't speak to his other.
We're worried about accuracy here. I like your style, Mike.
That's because truth above all, man. I am all about accuracy.
Mike's all about accuracy. He's not on the Democrats' side. He's worried about accuracy.
No, Biden on the other hand. I'm happy to have fun and tell jokes, but if it's said as fact, it does need to be factual.
Fair enough. It is factual that Hunter Biden does cocaine and has a stripper girlfriend from where, Pete?
Arkansas, Batesville, Arkansas.
I think they broke up.
Batesville, Arkansas. Seriously?
Batesville, Arkansas.
Same place Pistol's from. Same strip club he used to go to.
I wonder if that's where my kin came from.
Yeah. Well,
did Pete work days or nights?
Pete, were you the bouncer at the strip club that she worked at?
No, I ran the ATM.
That's where the real money was.
The ATM that dispenses $1 bills.
That's right.
He was getting those $6 transaction fees.
Yeah, he just had to fill them up every 10 minutes.
So, Pete, do you know Hunter Biden's ex-lover?
No, but my sister-in-law is not very far from them. The Hunter Biden's kid showed up at a ball game in Southside High School, so yeah, they're close.
How old? They're close. How old is the kid?
well, 6 or 8 years old.
Is he
think.
that old? I
think
thought
so.
this was more recent than that.
No,
It's not.
I don't. He may not be I don't know if it's a good boy or girl. They may not be that old, but they're not an infant.
Okay. All right. So
I mean, he was running those Russian oil sites or something for a while, wasn't he? So,
yeah,
I mean,
but he
can't
didn't
be
actually,
that recent.
he didn't actually do anything. He just flew
Not
on Air
Russia.
Force
What is
2
it? Ukraine.
over to,
Right.
He would
Well,
just
then
take
he
a
was
flight
running
to
all those,
Air-
but he was running all those banks in China. So, I mean, he's a pretty busy guy, you know. So
he was running.
maybe he's the one that brought coronavirus over.
Can we start that
connect
rumor?
The dots.
Hunter
Connect the
Biden
dots,
started
I'm just
brought
saying.
coronavirus.
I mean, I don't know. Look at the map behind me. He could be responsible for some of those red dots.
Oh, okay. That's a lot of red dots, JD. What do those represent?
Those are all sites from all my guns.
Those are all,
like red dot sites.
Red dot. Oh, you just
some are 10 mil, some are 2 mil. They're just
you just got all your red dot sites pointed behind you right now.
Looks like you got a lot of guns in China. How'd you smuggle those in?
All of them are in China.
You don't have very many in Australia, I see. So you don't have a lot of guns in Australia there.
Because the shipping is you know how much it costs to ship things to Australia? It's like 2 koala bears and a kangaroo. I'm
seeing some in Sydney and Melbourne and Perth. What's that fourth city there?
Mike knows exactly the locations that you're pointed to.
And Mike, it's just a green screen. I don't know.
Point down, JD. Point down.
Where? Oh.
You wouldn't make area? You wouldn't make a very good weatherman.
I'd make a terrible. I would make a great weatherman. I'm always wrong. In America,
And hey, America would love the beard if you were a weatherman.
I know.
Yeah, I also noticed he's got something at the North Pole. Did you see that? He's got a dot at the North Pole. No, seriously, bring that back up. He's got a dot on the North Pole.
JD, is that supposed to be coronavirus cases?
Yeah. It's coronavirus weather. Today it's going to double.
Oh, you know what? Let me take that back. All right, never mind. Looking at it closer, it's not the North Pole. That's Iceland. Never mind. All right, I didn't see Greenland there. Okay, I stand corrected.
Actually, have cases of coronavirus now?
Probably. A lot of travel.
They've got cases of corona.
He'll be here all week, folks. He'll be here.
I know, right? You're welcome. Are you going to give anything away? There's people watching.
See, there are actually people watching. The problem is I can't see who wins the giveaway. You made us turn our Facebook off. Sure, let's give away something, JD.
Well, just don't turn the sound up.
Can you read the comments?
I mean, I can read.
I can't pull the comments up. All right, we have some fun hats. So we got this whole. You probably don't want this hat because it was clearly made in China, but it is a "Make America Great Again" hat. But we're not sure what the 3 stars are for. We got Trump hats, some Trump trucker hats. We got a Gulf Coast gun hat, and we have my favorite, a Trump that says "Merry Christmas, you filthy animal." That's my favorite.
I like it.
Merry Christmas, you filthy snowflake. Yeah, I'm just trying to get rid of these.
Hey, look, people are starting to do a little more chatter. Start talking about winning.
Starting to do a little more. When you give free stuff away, people get excited.
Yep.
Okay. So hold on, let me go to my notes here.
You could pull Facebook up on your iPad. Just turn it down. Just turn the volume down on the iPad.
It was. I think it was our live.
Actually, I think it was me that I was listening to the live feed,
but he blamed it on me.
Yeah, because I couldn't find it. So
he was blaming it on me. I see.
Look, it doesn't say a good web guy. It just says the web guy. I mean,
we already knew that. Turn up the volume. I'm starting to read through the comments now. This is fun. Okay. some comments have been hidden. Did you hide those comments, JD? Was somebody mad at us so you hid their comments?
No, probably. It was probably Hunter Biden. Where is Hunter?
No, it was Wayne Brisk. Sorry, Wayne.
I don't know. Maybe
your
I did.
comments got hidden. No, I don't know how that happened.
Not on purpose.
You must have been talking bad about JD. That's all I can say. Because I didn't hide your comments.
I didn't either.
JD?
I don't. You know what? I probably did. I did. Maybe I did. I don't know. I couldn't get sound for the first 84 minutes of the show. So let's just, you know what? Let's just keep going.
All right. Let's give something away. So, first person to answer our question can choose from the pot of goodies that we have: the Gulf Coast gun hat, the Trump hat, the Merry Christmas, you filthy snowflake. That's my favorite, by the way. I have one of those shirts. So, answer our question: how many people under 20 have been hospitalized from coronavirus? Oh, there you go. JD, you can tell me
how many people under 20?
Under the age of 20 have been hospitalized from coronavirus.
Nationwide.
Well, I tell you what, maybe
worldwide. From the information I got, maybe a lot of fake news out there might not have been accurate.
I think the problem is that for the first 18 weeks of the coronavirus, they were like, oh, young people can't get it, yeah, and then so all the young people go to the beach and they're like, oh, we're already invincible, and we've been told for 18 weeks that we can't catch it, and then they come out and they're like, I
think they just spread. I think the young people are spreading it. That's what's going on? They're actually spreading it, and
well, no, I mean a lot of young people are getting sick from it, or whatever you call it.
Well, did you get an answer to our question?
Aren't y'all looking at the comments? Look, this is not a professional show. I don't know what the answer is. You've got the answer.
I do have the answer, but I'm waiting on someone to comment, and I can't see any of the comments at this point. So, I'm trying to pull them up.
We are so good at this.
Back on, still having audio problems. We're just about as good as Blab TV was.
Yeah, but we're a lot cheaper.
We're a lot cheaper than Blab TV. I think I read their lips and they said I won a prize. Is that Kazar said? I read their lips. They said I won a prize.
82 people under 20. I don't know.
That's not the answer I got. Is that the only comment that we have?
I don't know. Donna, John.
As good as Blab TV was. Pete, you're gonna get feedback there, buddy.
Did you have any angry customers this week? Like just that you?
Yes.
You just want to.
Absolutely. So yeah, we'll move on to our irrational. We'll move on to our irrational customers of the week. So everyone knows we've been slammed. We've been busy. We've had customers coming out of the woodworks that we've never seen before in our entire life, which is a great thing. And most of them were polite, respectful, and most of them understood everything that was going on. But ammo right now is in limited production. And my irrational customer of the week was from Saturday. I apologize. So this guy comes in the store and he goes and grabs a bunch of 9mm ammo and a bunch of 5.56 ammo. We had just a tad left. So he grabbed really the rest of it, everything that we had left. This was like at 1 o'clock on a Saturday. We can't get we're not getting shipments in on Saturdays. This isn't Walmart. They ship Monday through Friday here. So this guy's here at 1 o'clock on a Saturday, and he comes up and I said, "Sir, you can only get 2 of each of those." "What do you mean I can only get 2 of each of those? Why in the world could I only get 2 of each of those? That's absolutely ridiculous." And I said, "Well, sir, we're trying to let everyone get a little bit of ammunition because everyone needs it until we have bigger shipments come in." "Well, you ought to let people get first come, first served." This guy at 1 o'clock on a Saturday told us that we should let everyone first come, first serve, 2, 2, 3, and 9mm ammo. I looked at him and I said, "Sir, if we hadn't have limited the ammunition, you wouldn't be able to buy 2 boxes right now." This was the most absurd comment anyone had ever made to this guy, apparently. Well, I'm the first one here buying the rest of it. I should be able to buy all of it. And I could not make this guy understand. I argued with him for 20 minutes about the fact that if we hadn't a limited ammo to 2 per customer, that he wouldn't be able to purchase this quantity that he's trying to purchase right now, or even the 2 boxes that I was letting him purchase, that it would have been gone 2 days ago. And this guy argued with me literally for 20 minutes over this, like I was going to change my mind and let him be the special customer of the day and buy all of the ammunition. Oh,
was he boomer age?
No, he was actually in his. I don't know how old he was, but he looked like he was in his 30s. I thought it was going to be one of those Walmart guys that during the Barack Obama days, they used to sit out front of Walmart and wait for their shipments of 22 to come in, so they could go get their 2 and then turn around and sell them at the flea market the next day. But this guy,
I did not know that happened.
That did happen. Yeah, when 22 ammo was really hard to get during the Barack Obama days, the older guys like Pistol over here would sit outside of Walmart.
Yeah, I never did.
You Pete, did you ever go into Walmart at 7 a.m. trying to buy 22 ammo?
Not 22. 38 special. They didn't have any.
38 special. Did you turn around and resell it at the flea market?
No, I still got it in my truck.
You got ammo in your truck? Bring that stuff in. We're out of everything.
All right. It'd be high.
It's going to be expensive.
Yeah.
You can sit down here at the flea market on the weekend. I think the Milton flea market's closed, isn't it?
Yeah, they selling the place.
You can go to the Gulf Breeze flea market and maybe sell some ammunition down there.
I'm gonna go down there to All About Guns and sit out the front in the parking lot and sell it.
You'll sell out. You'll still be cheaper than that guy.
Yeah.
If you sell it at double our price, you'll be cheaper than that guy. JD, did we ever get an answer to our question earlier? I can't.
I don't know the.
There was 123 on here somewhere.
123.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Answer.
Yeah. Here's some. What's the answer? And then I'll just tell you who won.
The answer is 0. The information I got, there's been 0 hospitalized under 20 years old.
Yeah,
I
was afraid that was going to be your answer. I don't think that's accurate.
Yeah, no, that's not accurate, because there was like a kid, like a 5-year-old or something, that's been hospitalized.
Yeah.
So, like, anybody that says more than 0 should probably win. Maybe no.
Who were the first 5 people that said more than 0?
Or maybe the first person that says not Chris's answer. Maybe. I don't know.
So what you're saying is the first person who disagrees with me should win?
Donna said Trump 2020. I think that
Trump 2020 is how many people were how many under 20 have been hospitalized? How many under?
I mean, these are real high numbers. I don't know whether Joe Eggstrom or actually Brandon Denny was the first one to say 0. So
Brandon Denny was the first one to say 0. You know what?
Mm-hmm.
Brandon Denny, I like your style. I do.
Yeah.
So
they're all wrong.
He's going to be the winner.
Yeah.
Brandon's going to be the winner just because he agrees with me.
What does he win?
He wins one of the hats or the Dirty Snowflake shirt. Merry Christmas, you dirty snowflake.
Filthy.
You're filthy. Oh,
is that like?
Come on.
Home Alone, man.
Quid pro Joe.
I was gonna say, is that like yellow snow? Is that like a yellow snowflake? And you're not supposed to eat those, from what I understand.
You're not supposed to eat yellow snow, JD. You're absolutely not. Okay, I think we're rambling at this point. Who won? What was his name? Brandon Denny?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my boy.
Then,
Brandon, you're the winner.
We should probably give Donna Kaiser a hat too. You know.
We should give Donna one. Wow, what'd she do?
Yeah, she went with Trump 2020.
Trump
2020.
Trump 2020 is always the answer, correct?
Hey, you know what? let's give everybody ammo on here. Do we want to do that?
No,
no,
we don't have any ammo.
There's no ammo in the world.
There's no ammo.
There's
There is.
none.
Let me tell you where all the ammo is before we start closing up shop here.
It's
All
in
the
Dana's
ammo.
closet.
Dana has all the ammo. No, all the ammo is sitting in warehouses in Shreveport, Louisiana. I'm not going to say where, but it's all in Shreveport, Louisiana, in a warehouse. All of my ammo is sitting in that warehouse anyway. All the ammo that I'm trying to sell to you guys. Now we're going to have a big ammo shipment tomorrow, from what I hear. That's the word on the street,
right?
From FedEx. One other thing, FedEx. Let me tell you why our ammo shipment didn't show up today. I called FedEx. I talked to them, and they said that they are letting the boxes sit for 24 hours in the warehouse before they pick them up and deliver them to make sure all the coronavirus is gone. Does anyone have a response?
Like all of it?
Okay,
Well,
Alex,
they do say it can live for 12 hours on cardboard.
See, I've heard different things. I heard it. Yeah, but let's say metal. How long can it live on metal?
Oh, metal, it's like a day. It's like 24 hours on metal.
Unless
it's
like
copper.
10 years.
No, wait a minute. It depends on the kind of metal. Copper will actually kill it very quickly, as will zinc.
Yeah,
but like stainless steel, I think it's like a day. Or aluminum. I think it's a day.
So is their policy justified?
No, I have no idea how long it lasts on brass.
Why don't they just wear gloves while they're loading it?
Because all the hospitals are hoarding the gloves.
You're the first person I've ever heard say the hospitals are hoarding the gloves.
Why don't they just wear a mask? Right. Yeah, exactly.
So that's where our ammo shipment was today, guys. It's sitting at FedEx. If you guys want to flood FedEx with phone calls, tell Deliver Gulf Coast Gun their ammo shipment.
I think we've got to take Donna's free hat back. She just called us greedy bastards.
She just called us greedy. Why are we greedy?
I don't know. The comments are all out of order. Like I feel that Donna is no longer, in favor.
She's no longer in favor?
I don't know. I don't get it.
But she threw Trump 2020 out there. That's
I know. Chris France says sounds good, free ammo, but France has nothing to. They don't have ammo.
They don't.
I don't.
JD does not work here. Just FYI. By the way, JD's not giving away free ammo. So all right, before we go.
Yeah, no. There's no free ammo to give away. Sorry.
JD's in Birmingham, Alabama. If you guys would like to drive to his house and get free ammo, he's sitting outside.
I ordered all my ammo already.
All right, before we go, we're gonna let Mike pitch his show one more time, so you guys can go check out his podcast and his radio show. Mike, hit it.
All right, so the radio show airs in Pensacola, which would be Escambia, Santa Rosa County, and I suppose also Baldwin County, Alabama. You can hear it as well. It's on Saturday mornings from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. on WPNN, 103.7 FM and 790 a.m. And then after the show airs on the radio, it goes to podcast at www.themikebatesshow.com. And there's also a blog there as well. And I do a lot of Second Amendment stuff. Lately, it's been all coronavirus stuff, but I'm a big defender of the Second Amendment. And so a lot of what I plan to do is defending the Second Amendment against the lies of the gun grabbers. It's just that the COVID-19 coronavirus has been dominating the headlines. So Thursday, I guess Saturday morning, I'll be talking about it again. But I do a lot of Second Amendment stuff there. So themikebatesshow.com. And Gulf Coast Gun is the sponsor of it. And we do appreciate that support, Chris. Thank you.
Mike, right now, the gun grabbers are literally gun grabbers because they're coming in here buying guns. They are literally gun grabbers now. So, okay, guys, we're going to wrap it up. If we had some technical difficulties throughout the show, we'll blame that on our web guy with the beard. His beard got a little too long. He has recorded the show, and we will repost it on our YouTube page, Tactically Inappropriate. And Gulf Coast Guns Facebook page will repost the recording if you guys want to rewatch it with hopefully sound. So we'll see you guys next week if Pistol Pete doesn't die of coronavirus. Thanks for joining in, everybody.